Jaguars go to Mile High and come away with a huge win against the Denver Broncos. It was the hot team playing the other hot team, and the hot team from the hot state won in Mile High. And I thought it was a complete performance, especially in the second half, really pulling away. And I thought both teams had some really good stretches on both units. But that Jaguars offense, and you mentioned this when they won this game 34-20 and really controlled it. You mentioned this, that Broncos defense is a little gettable in certain aspects. It's a little gettable, and it felt gettable today, especially through the air. And I thought Trevor Lawrence operated great on third down. Bunch of stuff to target to Parker Washington, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But what do you think about this one, Chuck? For huge win for the Jags.
As someone who had Parker Washington on the bench in the fantasy championship game, I'm a little sick. I gotta say, I'm a little sick.
I think anyone will blame you totally.
I know. I wasn't
a hero play,
right? That would have been a ridiculous play to make. But man, that was to me, that if you're a Jaguars fan, that's exactly what you wanted to see, because I think the only caveat on like their winning streak was it's about like some of the worst quality stuff you'll see in the NFL. I mean, it's like, dude, I saw some Brady Cook plays today. That's what they played in one of their runs, wins on this run. Not great. So the only question I really had was like, all right, they were like 6-1 in the last 7 going to this game. What does it look like against like a real, a team that we've kind of deemed a contender? And it looks good. Like I think you could officially say you're a good team. And it's not just to win, it's to win on the road and in such convincing fashion, because it never really felt like the Broncos were going to get back into this game. They were pretty discombobulated up front. Bo Nix had an up and down game, some good stuff, a lot of really bad stuff. It was weird. Well, that's what's frustrating about Bo. Like, you'll see him flip flop like this hard week to week. And today was not his best game. And I think, for the Jaguars, you just kind of keep taking advantage when your opponent isn't playing up to par. And the fact that they could win by 2 touchdowns on the road against a team that's good, it kind of changed, for me at least, it at least solidifies like what is possible for this team in the postseason. And shoot, that you probably got to think about them like AFC contenders. Because I watched the entirety. I want to watch Myles Garrett when he gets that sack to break the record, because he's 1 sack away now. So I've been watching these.
You want to witness history?
I want to witness history. Yeah, I want to witness history. I mean, because I still remember watching Michael Strahan on that sack by Brett Favre, and I was as disappointed as Michael Strahan was that that's how the record was broken. Some quarterback just folding into it. So I want to see how this ends. These Browns games are not fun though. But I say all that to say this: that defense in Buffalo is very gettable. Like, you're starting to look at all the contenders in the AFC. There's all some critical flaw that they have. If you're Jacksonville, why not think that you're in that group? I watched the Browns today run reverses, screens, check down stuff, and they were bulldozing that Bills defense for like half the game until you need to run a real drop back offense.
It's a real football. That's all you have to run an NFL offense.
Until like, I give credit to them that they made it to 23-20 all the way to like 2 minutes left without running a real offense, but you had to run one and you immediately almost got a safety. So but Jacksonville, man, good squad, good win. I don't see why they can't be a contender based on how they performed today.
I'm right there with you, because I think that's what it gets down to is the AFC is just completely wide open. Just get to the dance. And they just beat the Broncos on the road. All right, other teams right now in the AFC playoffs, whether it be Patriots, which we have seen are gettable on defense, and their run game is nothing really that crazy. The Steelers, which we're going to talk about plenty. We'll talk about in the low section because we'll be talking about more. We'll be talking about the whole game, but we'll just wait for that. Chargers, very gettable. You can run on the Chargers as well. Bills, like you mentioned, and the Texans, which is, of course, a team that they put up points on. They let them back into the game, which was just a totally crazy thing when they played Davis Mills. But like, I think that'd be like a very even matchup. So like you said, they're absolutely a contender because everybody's a contender in the AFC. But I agree with you. I feel great about them. They barely were even able to run the ball today. Jags running backs had a 10% rushing success rate. Trevor Lawrence had more successful runs than the Jags running backs did today. And I think I say that because this wasn't a perfect game for them. It wasn't the where everything was working, everything's going great. They executed on third down. They had moments where they had stupid penalties and stupid moments, and they still executed. They still were able to score in the red zone. That's been a big thing for Trevor Lawrence in his career. Dumb turnovers in the red zone. He's executing. I mean, that's why he's getting all these touchdowns now. Guys are actually catching the ball. They're not getting any like crippling moments that they've had in the past. I just think that it's 25% of Trevor Lawrence's throws today were categorized as tight window throws. And that it was just like he executed. Like he was pressured on nearly half of his dropbacks. He was sacked a decent amount of times, but it was just like, it never felt like, oh my God, the Jaguars offense, they can't do anything. It was like, no, because he was flinging it and the pass catchers were making big plays. Parker Washington, I thought it was kind of cool. Like every kind of like auxiliary pass catcher like had a moment. And I was wondering going into this, I talked about it twice last week on the fantasy show with Matt. And then on Thursday with you on the preview show, it's like, all right, Patrick Surtain, okay, he's going to wipe out your number one. Who do they treat as number one? Which was Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, but receiver 2 and receiver 3 and the tight end, you can kind of get them. They're 5th in DVOA against receiver 1, then 14th receiver 2, 24th against receiver 3s. Who's receiver 3 for the Jags? Parker Washington. So it was like, and then Brendan Strange had some moments today too. So it kind of made sense how it all broke down. And the Jags just keep having awesome designs. The ETN touchdown was a great design.
Yeah.
The first Parker Washington, I mean, he had a bunch of out routes he caught. The out route that it was like a catch and run, went like 60 yards. That was like, they knew on third down that the Broncos like to get into these invert looks. And so Trevor knew where to go with the ball as a quick out route. And I thought that was just great execution, just like nice, quick, simple answer that he knew to find the best answer on that one. The passes of under 2.5 seconds today, Trevor Lawrence, this is kind of what I'll end on. 10 of 14, 155 yards, 3 touchdowns, 11.1 yards per attempt. He had a passer rating of 147.3. And I think that and they had a 53% conversion rate on third down. They were just, when they had to execute, they executed. Slot fade to Parker Washington, out routes to Parker Washington, dig route to Myers before the first half ends. I thought this was Trevor's been on a roll, and this was just like a real big feather in cap for him. I think for Liam Cohen, and I think for just this group of pass catchers that have really come into their own into like a really cool group. One of my favorite groups of pass catchers. I include Strange with this.
Agreed. I mean, I've been thinking since basically since the Myers extension came through, next year, like this, it feels like Travis Hunter's been forced to play cornerback.
Yeah. We'll use it when we need you.
Well, I mean, just think about it. Like Parker Washington's, or not Parker Washington. Jacoby Myers getting targets. Brian Thomas Jr. is getting targets. Brendan Strange getting targets. Liam Cohen's going to give the running backs targets. What's left? Like, there's not much left. And ultimately, you can't use number 2 overall pick on a wide receiver 3. So I would imagine that he's playing a lot more corner next year, which might end up being the best thing for everyone involved. Like you could imagine. Okay, but now imagine this offense next year when you can actually sprinkle in Travis for like 10 to 15 plays a game with this established receiver group. Like you're actually really cooking with gas now. I like, man. I kind of want to recoil a little bit because I'm like, damn, man, it's the Jaguars, and they've always been the Jaguars. But you got to look at each season with new glasses, new lenses, and this is a good football team, man. They're really good. It's crazy to say the Jacoby Myers trade. It really did change everything for this team. It really did change everything. You just needed you just needed a little competence, just a little competence. Because I felt like we were going crazy telling people like, dude, the routes are off. It's just like a yard or 2 off in an NFL game makes all the difference in the world. So just the fact that you can be precise, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. So, dude, he's earned that money. I was happy for him to get that money. It's really cool to see us not be insane that, hey, Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. And he was absolutely awesome today.
Yeah. I think he gets a +10 stat boost when he rolls to his left. I think he goes from like 89 overall to 99 when he rolls to his left. I in the second half, the Broncos marched down and score. And I was like, oh, Sean Payton adjustments. Oh man, we'll see how the Jags answer. But this is when they're gonna kind of like they shot their wad, and this is it in the second half. And then they answer with a great drive. They had some cool plays on it, and it was just they never backed down. They never fully Jaguars it. Like it was just kind of like when they have a mistake, they answered the mistake. Like they didn't compound anything. I think that maybe is the best way. I always felt like I've watched Jaguars games for years where one error leads to another. And maybe it's just, obviously the talent level wasn't awesome for a couple of years, especially with the skill guys. And it's just kind of cool. Like, this is why the Myers thing is so important, because if he's not there and it's just BTJ and Parker Washington and Brenton Strange, Parker Washington is not receiver 2. And that's why everyone can slot into roles. Myers can go to the outside. And this is why, again, he's so useful. He can play outside or slot. Okay, now he can play on the outside. Now Parker Washington's in the slot. Like, and it just opens up all the roles for everybody else. And they were doing a whole bunch of stuff with shifting, like they would split a guy out, like a running back out, shift him back into the backfield, or they would swap guys that are split out, because they were trying to really mess with, like, or just confirm what they were getting from the Broncos defense. It was a really thoughtful game plan. Maybe that's the best way I could put it, from Cohn and the Jaguars staff. Just very thoughtful. Like, they would like swap receivers, like just next to each other based on like if it was man or zone, just to confirm stuff. And that's why, they run it down 3, 2, 1 every play clock. But now that I've watched a lot of Jags this year, I'm like, I get why they're doing this. It's a very wordy play calls. It's much like what the Rams do. It's just, this is year one with a new play caller, new all this stuff, as opposed to, and with a really young offensive staff, as opposed to Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, guys that have called a lot of games and at quarterback and as play caller. But I thought Trevor had a great game. I thought the design runs were great with him too. The zone read touchdown, or it wasn't zone read, but read touchdown, I'll say. He had a zone read on 3rd down. I thought the ETN wheel touchdown was freaking awesome, because it was just mesh, but they ran into the boundary like a freaking video gamer. Like they ran the play into the boundary, ran the wheel with all the field to the space. I love that. Sorry, it was just, I thought Cohen just had like this awesome game. I thought Trevor executed perfectly. And I thought just when every time the Broncos had life, because they were fighting in the first half,
they were
moments, then they just tapered off. It was just the Jaguars kept having answers and kept executing.
Yeah, it's a complete win. I'm now like actually excited to see what happens in the postseason for them.
Yeah, I am too. As opposed to like, oh, that was fun. You guys are ahead of schedule. Bye. Now they have the Colts and then the Titans. I mean, and they're pretty much, they're locked in to get in. So I mean, they're running for that number 1 seed right now, which is just insane.
Crazy.
Now the head-to-head win against the Broncos.
I'll say it's a lot better than last time they were in the running for the number 1 seed, and they lost like 9 straight games.
Remember that? To the Bengals. It was I think they lost to Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Kryptonite. Everybody was like, oh yeah, dead to rights. Look at this. Here come the Jags. And then that happened. Yeah. No, I think Jags, Texans, like all these teams are very live to me. Like the Broncos, I'm not counting them out either. It's just that this was just much more impressive from the Jags, obviously. Steelers with their muck ball, Patriots with May, Chargers with Minter and Herbert, but they have no O-line. So it's the AFC, man.